It seems like it's been 40 weeks since you got 40 winks. Your back pain? Unbearable. Tossing, turning, trying to find that pain-free position. And that's the moment you realize you can't spend another waking moment putting off treatment.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for spine care, with a ton of surgical and non-surgical treatments for back pain. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better, the Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This podcast is brought to you by Sway, artfully crafted, ready-to-drink cocktails from Mad Tree Brewing. This is episode 778, Amanda's Diary, entry 14, Career Changes.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This podcast with Amanda Valentine.
What up, homies? Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This podcast. I am Amanda Valentine, and a heads up, this is my diary. Oh, scandalous. Not really. This is just an episode where I'm going to catch you up on everything going on with me in my own health and wellness journey, which has been going on for almost 11 years now. Oh my God. Also, as the episode says, career changes. I have some big career changes in my own personal life that I'm going to talk about, and talk about everything going on with this podcast and my own little business and everything else. So if you're not interested in what's going on with me personally, you can go ahead and stop this episode and bounce and go to another episode. There's almost 800 to choose from on various topics, all health and wellness. But if you're nosy and you're like, I want to know what's going on with Amanda, well, then this is the episode for you. So like I just teased twice, I do have some career changes, and I've been going through some career changes that I haven't really talked about at all on social media or on this podcast. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But first, see, it's a little tease there. Going to talk to you about my Pound This party, which I really, really hope that you come to, which is Saturday, August 6th at Mad Tree Brewing in Cincinnati. And that has been something I have been working on technically since the end of last year, where the idea kind of came up of like, man, I kind of want to do a live podcast event. If I'm going to do it, go big or go home. And I have never put anything of this scale together by myself before. And I would tell you, it is definitely a learning experience. I mean, there's a lot of parts of it that have been really, really great, but talk about just jumping into the fire of event planning, mostly by myself. I mean, thank you so much to everybody who has, I've recruited friends and people giving me advice and helping and donations and all of that. But it's kind of like me at the helm putting this whole thing together. And I wanted to do that for multiple reasons. One, it's my 40th birthday, and I'm like, what do I actually want to do for my 40th? Do I want to go on a trip? Do I want to, just get super hammered? What do I want to do? And I'm like, well, I would really like to do something I'm really proud of. And when I left my former career in radio at the end of 2019 to start my own business and to work in health and wellness, I wrote out a list of things I wanted to do pre-pandemic, and that was create more in-person connections, since this podcast obviously is digital and it's not in person. And then that obviously did not happen after March 2020. And I'm like, well, this is an opportunity for people that listen that we can actually meet in person. You can meet some people that are on the podcast. We can have these conversations in person. We can have a bunch of fun. And I think I would be really proud of putting something like this together, because I've never put anything of this scale together. So there's that. And I just wanted to have something that's like for everyone. That's not like, oh, you have to be super fitnessy to come to it, or you have to be super wellnessy, or you have to be like super into this thing. It's like, no, this is just overall health and wellness. How can we live our best lives and just have so much balance of, yes, we're going to eat healthy, delicious foods. Like we are going to have a lot of 80 acres farms, greens, but we're also going to have pizza, and we're also going to have alcohol. Everybody's going to get 2 sways from Mad Tree, which is their new vodka soda drink, which is fantastic. So that's included with your ticket price. So it's going to be a party, but it's also going to be so much like learning and just fun. And I think we're going to have an awesome time. And everybody that has been a part of that has been amazing. Huge thing Thank you to Mad Tree Brewing. Thank you to Me Active, who is giving everybody a free $88 pair of leggings, which, by the way, that's going to be a coupon, so you can pick out your own legging. It's not you're going to show up and you're like, oh, I'm stuck with these. These don't fit. So you're going to get to choose those on your own after you get the coupon. So thank you to Aaron and Me Active. Thank you to New Ethics and Stephanie and Zeb and everybody there. And they're going to be there with some of their supplements like protein powders and stuff like that. And Zeb has been a part of this podcast for a very long time. Huge thank you to Christ Hospital, which I wouldn't have been able to continue this podcast after 2019 without Christ Hospital. So I owe them so much. They've been so supportive of me and they're so amazing. And right now they are giving everyone a discount on those tickets, $20 off per ticket if you use code TCH at checkout. Also, I'm going to include the special link in the show notes here to get that price. And yeah, the prices are set where they are because your girl has hard costs. And I'm just trying to make sure everybody gets paid. Jay Cruz, who I used to work with at the radio station, is going to be my DJ, who is such a huge supporter of this podcast while I was still at the radio station. I'm excited to have him there. Laura's Healthy Delights is going to be providing everybody with delicious birthday desserts. Head of the Woods is going to have chips for everybody. Whirlybird Granola is going to have bags of granola for everybody. Oh my God, who am I missing? Trilogy Fitness Systems is going to be there. We're going to be doing a workout with Matt and everybody at Trilogy. Who else am I missing? Oh my God, I should have wrote out the whole entire list. 80 Acres Farms and God, I can't even remember who else is going to be there. But like it's going to be awesome. So, and I know it's an all day thing. And if you're like, oh my God, that's too aggressive, you can show up for parts of it and leave and come back like whatevs. Like you do you. The happy hour is 45. If you just want to show up for the happy hour, let's roll. But you do need to get your ticket. Ticket sales end August 1st. No tickets sold at the door. So please get your tickets. Those links are in the show notes. And again, it's going to be a day of just information, living your best life, all about health and wellness, but also a lot of fun. We're all going to do Kegels together. Come on. That sounds awesome. And also, happy hour, drinks, birthday party, because that is technically the last day of my 30s. So let's rage. And I'm so excited that people have from Canada are road tripping to come to Cincinnati for this. Somebody told me they're road tripping from Delaware, which is amazing, which is one of the reasons I wanted to kind of have a big party too. Is I did a poll or a couple polls on Instagram, which I know that's not very scientific, to be like, if I actually did this, would you show up? Come on, be real with me. Because everybody's like, of course, if you did it, I'd show up. And I'm like, if I'm going to put this insane amount of work into this, would you really? And that's where people from other parts of the country and other countries said they would come. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do that, I can't have some stupid backroom birthday party. I need to be something worth traveling to, which is kind of why it kind of got to the scale of where it's at. So, yes. So there are a limited amount of tickets, but please get your ticket now, whenever you listen to this, before August 1st. Would really appreciate you coming and hanging out and supporting the podcast, because by buying a ticket to this, you are supporting the podcast and the little business that this is and has become. So hope to see you August 6th at Mad Tree. And that's the party portion of things going on here, which again, it's just been amazing for me personally. Of when I putting this together, of asking who wants to be a part of it. People are like, yeah, I'll give this. Yeah, I'll do this. Oh yeah, the American Heart Association is going to be there. They've got goodies for everybody. I mean, these goodie bags are freaking loaded. I will tell you that. I'm not sure if the bags are going to be big enough for all the crap that's going to be inside of them. So, that portion did not have an issue, which is amazing for me to be like, wow, I've been doing this podcast and interviewing people and getting people part of this, at least specifically so much in Cincinnati over the past almost 5 years. And to see how many people are excited to be a part of that or to be supportive of it is very, very cool. And I've cried a couple times from stress, but also just from insane gratitude of wow, like I've built this. That's pretty amazing that these people want to be on board and want to do things with me, because so much of the narrative, I think, for my entire career of working as a radio personality was nobody cares about you, and they care about the radio station, and you are just you're just a little slave of that. Which, again, as an industry as a whole, I'm not specifically saying any one specific place. So to be like, no, I'm doing this thing by myself, and I'm doing this, and these people want to be a part of it because of what I'm doing and what I'm building, and not just because somebody wants to be a part of a radio station thing is meaningful to me, which I think is cool. So I think that's kind of checks the box of wanting to have this party as creating something that I'm proud of, something that I think is giving to the community, something that I think is valuable, something I think everybody is going to leave having a good time and knowing a lot. Some of the guest speakers are Lindsay Bonadonna, who's absolutely amazing, who is a ray of sunshine, who is going to talk about like mindset, self-love, freaking owning it. She's a badass. She's going to give you a lot of great information on that. Rochelle Froboda, who's been on this podcast before, talking about sexual health. I think there's a sexual health, especially for women, has definitely been in the news lately. So we're going to learn about our own bodies, and we're going to, know more about our own sex drive, and just some like education that somehow gets missed, especially for women. And all these guests are available for Q&A. Also going to be Sarah, who's Team Fit with me, who's been my health coach for the past couple of years, who's been a part of this podcast for several years. And she's flying in from Phoenix. She's going to be talking about macros and nutrition, and, free for questions for that too. I know a lot of people listening to this are also use Sarah as their health coach, and a great opportunity to meet her in person and ask questions and have fun. So it's going to be great. Now, I talked 10 minutes about my party now. You're like, oh my God, when are you going to talk about the career changes? That was the tease, Amanda. I know. See, this is what happens when you get a diary episode. I'm just rambling about myself. So as far as the career changes go, I mean, there's been a lot just in the past several years. Again, I left a huge career change from working in broadcasting, choosing to leave at the end of 2019 to just, my goal then was like, I just want to work in health and wellness. I have this podcast that is very meaningful to me. It seems to help people. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know I can't do this anymore. I want to pursue this more and have more legs and see what can happen with this. And through all sorts of drama in there, I got to keep my podcast and keep that. And then I was like, okay, well, let me figure out what the business is and whatever, we're going to get rolling. And then global pandemic. So that obviously changed things up, as it did for all of us. But I did want to become a personal trainer, mostly for my own knowledge and to have the experience. It was never my goal to just be a personal trainer forever. So I'm not a personal trainer anymore. I was a personal trainer for a little bit less than a year and a half. I left the gym I was personal training at in April. So I have not been training or been a personal trainer for 3 months now. Which has been great. I love all my clients, and I love being able to help people. And it was such an amazing learning experience. But lots of reasons there is time to go. And that's something I've also learned on this journey of working in jobs of like, hey, I don't fit here anymore. This isn't where it was supposed to be going. Time to go, which is a really, really hard decision to make. And I will say that I'm extremely grateful to be in a very, my own privileged position where I can make those choices, where I can be like, it's time for me to leave. I'm going to do something different. So that was a decision there made to be like, this is not any of the situation for me any longer, and it is time to go, and I am going to leave. And I'm not fully sure what's next, but I know that I don't want to continue this because this is bad for my health. And I also learned through multiple conversations that the lifespan of a personal trainer is less than a year, because it is a damn hard job. So if you have a personal trainer, give them a hug and give them some money. Because they have deserved it. it is a difficult position. You are a therapist. You're learning on the job. It takes a physical toll on you. And I also learned it was not doing any good for my physical or mental health. I was exercising the least amount that I had in a long time outside of injuries. And I'm like, I can't have a job that is wrecking my own personal health. The whole reason I'm doing all of this is because of my own personal health and wellness journey. So that was the decision to leave there. And so I haven't done that. So the past several months has been focusing a lot on my business, which is the party planning, which is doing the podcast, which is doing sponsorships, which is doing speaking engagements, a multitude of other things. This is the first time I really paid myself. And the first time in almost 3 years to just kind of be like, okay, well, let's see what's next. I have a business mentor and he was like, Amanda, do you want to be an employee or do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I'm like, I want to be both. I want a secure paycheck. But I also still want to do this thing. So after some multiple job interviews with multiple places, some of them which would have been amazing experiences. I found something that is, I think, a really great fit for me. And I have accepted the position of the Director of Membership and Transformation at the YMCA here in Cincinnati. And I start that job on the 18th. So I'm excited to do that. That seems, there's a lot of parts of that job role that very much fit into me and what I want to do, the community I want to create, spreading the message of like health and wellness and just living your best life. And I feel like that's at the core of everything that I do. And I know that this podcast and everything I've done kind of started with weight loss, and it's not just about weight loss at all. And that's part of my journey. And that's kind of the spark that set everything into motion of like how much just making healthy choices for myself allows me to live the life that I want to live. And I think that's so much of what my message is. And that's what I was kind of looking for in even just leaving broadcasting of like, I want to do something. I just want to work in health and wellness in some way. I'm at ground zero. I don't have any experience in this field. My experience is radio DJ, which doesn't get you very far. And that was also another reason to leave that job. It's like, well, if I stay here longer, I'm just putting off the inevitable because sorry, the radio industry ain't doing so good. And so it's like, I'm not going to have this job forever, any job in radio forever. It's going to be inevitable. I have to make a career change. And do I want to do that, knee deep into my 40s, or do I want to do that at my late 30s? So it was kind of the choice of like, let's just figure that out. So the past couple of years too, have also been like, if you've ever done that and you've gone through like a career shift, I applaud you. It is difficult. A lot of your identity gets wrapped into your job. And, your skill set gets stuck into that one thing that you've been doing forever. And you got to be really open to learn a lot more. And it's difficult. It is really, it's a struggle, and that's putting it lightly. And being an entrepreneur is hella hard. So, and I know that's very glamorized, especially with like influencers and everything, but it's stupid hard. And that's why I've respected small business owners so much for a very long time, but even more so now of having to do my own thing for the past couple years. And even some of the people that have been my biggest supporters of me being an entrepreneur, I told them like, I got a full-time job. And they're like, oh man, you're going to the other side. And I'm like, yo, steady paycheck and benefits. That sounds awesome. And it's something that I think fulfills my mission, helps me do what I want to do. And that was really important for me too. I just didn't want to like get a job that didn't serve a purpose. So I feel like this new position for me serves a huge purpose in what I want to do, still allows me to do this podcast. So nothing's going to change here. So I'm really excited about it. I'm really, really excited about it. It seems like an awesome fit. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be discussing it on this or definitely on social media. There's a lot of social media rules that I think I'm going to lay low on for a while. So I did want to let you guys know what I was doing. So that's going to be the next chapter for me is having this other full-time job, and then also doing this podcast, and still doing like speaking engagements and emceeing stuff and stuff like that, especially around Cincinnati. But I'm available for a world tour. So that's what's going on there as far as career changes go. For my own health and wellness, having the past couple months of just having one job, I definitely made the decision of like, I'm going to take my health and make that my full-time job. I feel like my own health got so put on the back burner, as it does with all of us, which is another reason why I do this podcast, because it's freaking hard. Life gets in the way. And I'm like, I have to start taking care of me again. So I devised my own little challenge for myself. With the inspiration of 75 Hard. I think 75 Hard is too aggressive and unrealistic as a way of like sustainability. So there's definitely why I incorporated the outdoor workout part of making sure I get back into my workout routine. As a personal trainer, that completely just went away. That job made me hate exercise, and that sucks. So I am like, I have to get back to where this is something that I loved for me, and I don't want it to take away this from me, because this is really, really important for my life. And so I got spend the past couple months making sure I've been getting my workouts in. I've included daily meditation into my own little challenge. There's, which I can get into later. I'm thinking about maybe starting my own little challenge around what I've been putting myself through for the past couple months. But definitely like the outdoor exercise, the meditation, drinking all of my water, like those are kind of like the classic things. I've been reading 10 pages of a book every single night, so it's helping me motor through books a little bit faster than I had been before. Right now, I'm almost done with The Body Keeps a Score, which I know I've mentioned that on this podcast several times that I was going to read it, and it's a difficult read. So I'm glad that this like challenge got me into a point where I'm like, let's go. And I already finished 2 other books before I started this one, doing this challenge. So I feel really good. I feel like I'm in way better of a mental health space. I feel better physically. I'm feeling in a really good space to much better than I was earlier in the year. So I feel like that's been great. Sarah has been super helpful as my health coach. She's been knowing like seeing amounts of stress and everything that I've been under, which really does jack with your weight and your health. So it's been helpful to do those check-ins with her. I actually took a couple months off at the beginning of the year because things were so stressful and chaotic that I'm like, I don't even want to deal with this right now, which is part of the problem. So there was a time where I wasn't meal prepping, which I had not done in almost a decade. And I just kind of like, just was like, it was another one of those moments in my own journey where I'm like, what is this? This can't be happening. Who is this person? This is not what I want out of my life for me personally. And not because I'm like, I have to stick on a diet or anything like that. So, Sarah's been great. Again, you save 10% off month 1 of all packages and plans when you go to teamfitwithme.com/pound this. That's in the show notes. But yeah, I feel like I'm in a much better place now than I was earlier in the year. I feel like I'm starting a new chapter that feels more like me and what I want to do and where I'm going. And that feels really exciting. So I'm pretty hyped about everything going on right now. And I'm excited to do this party and see and meet people and see where that goes and start this new job and continue on my own health journey, which is crazy that it's been almost 11 years. Like I remember for my 30th birthday, I had already, what did I do? I had lost like 40 pounds at that point from my New Year's resolution. So by August, I was already down like 40 pounds. And it's so funny because it was right at that point in my own journey where I lost somebody who was one of my best friends. The last time I saw her is she planned a birthday party for me. And then after that, it was one of those things where it's like, it became so like backhanded comments and nasty things about how much I was walking or what I was eating and working out. And it was like, I just didn't think I was going to lose a friend that way. So that was kind of crazy. That's how I went into my 30s and the 40s. The year leading up to it, not easy either. But just what a different space I'm in from turning 30 to 40, and to be like, wow, if you go back a decade ago, you know, I was changing my lifestyle around. I was losing weight. I was starting to walk. At that point, I was starting to do Couch to 5K. I was doing the Chubby Jones podcast and listening to that and doing the Couch to 5K and learning to run. And how I could have never, ever, ever, ever imagined to be like, in a decade, for your 40th birthday, this is going to be your job. You're going to have a podcast all about it that you've been doing for years. And you're going to choose to spend your birthday party doing a wellness event and helping other people on their own journeys. Like, it just, there's no way. If you would have told me that on my 30th birthday, I'd been like, you are smoking some crack. There is like no way. It's just crazy how much life can change. And that's where it's for me too, of like, man, just those decisions I made of like, I want to live the life I want to live. Binge eating to the point of pain every night and hating myself is not the life I wanted to live. And I made choices to give me more of the life I want to live. And I am definitely here where I feel like I go on adventures. I feel comfortable in my body to do like, I just took a random weekend trip to the Indiana sand dunes and, put in 10 miles and like, didn't even feel like it wasn't the goal of like, you have to exercise the whole time. That's just what I wanted to do. As I wanted to walk on the beach and I wanted to hit trails and I wanted to get in the water. And that's the life that I personally want to live. And the choices that I make around my health allow me to live that life. And that I think is incredibly beautiful. And that's so much of what my message is. And it's not just do this so you can lose weight so you can do this, but that is a side effect though. Like, you're able to do more of these things in a healthier body or in a body that is more able, whatever that means for you. And that doesn't necessarily mean weight loss. It means joint health. That means just having energy. That just means moving, all of those things. And that's what I think wellness is. And if you would listen to this podcast at the very beginning, when I started this podcast in 2018, my message is probably different than it is now. It's probably way more weight loss focused and talking about cheat days and stuff like that. And this is where I am now. And I think that's just because you live and you grow and you learn and you change. That's the biggest thing, is you just change and you allow it to change. And that's just inevitable. So it's like, yeah, somebody could come and be mad at me and be like, wow, you just do everything also weight loss focused, which, trust me, just this year I had personal friends snap at me for like, all you do is talk about what weight loss. And I'm like, what? You talk to me like twice a year. Like, do you listen to me at all? Like, I don't feel like that is the only thing I talk about. Yes, that is something that started this journey for me, but it's like, yeah, maybe when I first started this podcast, or I first started posting on Instagram, that was definitely more of the message, but that's not just everything I talk about now. And we're allowed to change. Like, every single moment is a time that we're allowed to change. And I think that speaks into the job changes too, is you got to do what's best for you. Other people are going to have opinions and they're going to be douchebags. I'm sorry, but it's going to happen no matter what your choices are. If you're doing something that's best for you and you're not catering to everybody else's feelings all the time, you're going to get some clap back and it's going to suck and it's going to sting and you're going to learn who your friends are. But you have to make the changes that are appropriate to you and living your best life, and knowing that you're going to lose some people along the way and you're going to find better people to fit who you are in that moment. So it is incredibly hard and it is really painful. But I wouldn't trade for what I've gone through and what I'm at now. And it's not over. It's not like it's going to get any easier from the moment I'm done recording this podcast. It's fulfilling what I want to do with my life and who I am, and making I don't know if they're the right choices. I don't know if just quitting 2 jobs in the past couple years was, in the moment, it's like, oh my God, what am I, is this the best choice? I don't know, but my gut feeling tells me like there's something better for me, and just kind of following that. So far that has been correct. And I've hit a lot of dead ends, and I've had a lot of struggles over the past couple of years, which haven't we all? But I think it's absolutely worth it. And I'm glad that I chose the more difficult road rather than just staying in what I was doing to basically be like, well, I'm making a fat paycheck, so I'm here for the money, which it'd be nice to have that money, but I don't. But I feel like I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm living my life. I've met so many people that are amazing that I wouldn't have met without making difficult choices, including just making the choice to be healthier. Like, I've lost people along the way because of that. And ultimately, I have me. It's me at the end of the day. I have to live with me until I'm not here anymore. So I might as well do what is best for me, as long as it's not hurting or actively hurting or purposely hurting somebody else, which sometimes I don't mean to hurt other people. I don't mean to, spread a message that's something that sparks somebody's own insecurities, or they feel attacked or pain. That is never, ever, ever my intention. And that hurts a lot if I hear that. And that especially comes with the weight loss stuff. So it is never my intention to ever make anybody feel uncomfortable or feel like they're not good enough. Definitely not. So, I that's just something you have to deal with. Of just like, as long as your intentions are good, that's the best you can deal with. You can't control other people's reactions. So, well, I didn't mean to go into this direction, man. But yeah, so that's what's going on with me. That's my diary episode. So, as always, I appreciate you listening to this podcast so much. Like, you just have no idea how much this podcast has changed my life and the direction of it, and just how many people have messaged me or emailed me or I've met from this podcast. If this podcast helps you in any way, please share. That does help a ton. Sharing this podcast with other people. Again, I would love to see you at my party if you're able, even if it's for a little bit. That would be really fantastic. That would be awesome. I'm not sure if I'm going to do more of these, or if I'm going to put them on a smaller scale, or what's going to happen. I just know this one's going to definitely happen. And I would love to spend my birthday with people that listen to this podcast, because it's so one-sided. You know what I mean? Like, you're listening to this, but I can't see you. I don't know who you are unless you tell me. So it's cool for me to be like, oh, we feel like you build a relationship with somebody. And it's like, but I can't have that conversation back. I would like to, have a back and forth conversation. I think that would be super cool. So I think that's it. I know there's like a million other things going on too. But yeah, if you ever have any questions, or you have a suggestion for a topic you want to hear in this podcast, email me, Amanda@AmandaValentineBites.com. I actually am recording a podcast tomorrow based off of a listener question. Somebody's like, hey, you always say if you got a question, I have this question. She wrote me her question. I'm like, actually, that's something for a doctor at Christ Hospital. I messaged Christ Hospital. I'm like, do you have a doc that wants to talk about this? And they're like, we do. So now I'm going to be recording a podcast on that. So I actually mean those things. So if you have something that I can't answer, or I can answer in an email, just, I will shoot that to somebody else. So Amanda@AmandaValentineBites.com. I think that's it. I'm done rambling. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you later.
AmandaValentineBites.com.